Chief with us, right? Um, the
What's going
collaboration
on,
goes
everybody?
so vibrant and wonderful. We're so happy to have him again. We're gonna try to bother him as much as possible, y'all. So it's heads up to you, Chief.
Yeah, what's happening, y'all? Sitting in here
Before we
in the
start,
cold
Chief, do you
garage.
have any updates?
Uh, I mean, everything is moving and it's starting to move a little bit faster as far as adoption for digital assets and stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
if y'all out there and y'all doing you doing your research, are you looking at influencers or
Yep.
doing some reading, just make sure that when you're looking at stuff, you're looking for value. You're looking for something that's going to actually do something.
Mm-hmm. Hey, BK Crypto, thank you so much for joining us. He said, "What's up, people? Getting ready for ETF."
ETF. You getting ready for that ETF, huh? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they've been spending a lot of talk about that, huh?
that ETF, it'll be here probably the first quarter next year. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna probably let Kathy Wood do hers first because she was
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get the front running for sure.
yeah, because she put hers in first, which is only right. But it's gonna happen
Yeah.
because once BlackRock said they wanted to do it, it's a wrap. BlackRock
Oh
is
Vanished.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
BlackRock is the world. And it's
Mm-hmm.
another thing about BlackRock too, man. And BlackRock been in this longer than what everybody can imagine.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
found out a few things today about them that it's just they they on a whole nother level, man. You think that you know stuff, you don't really know nothing. These people gonna do what they want to do when they want to do it and how they want to do it.
This is true. And I had came across an article. I was like, well, should we talk about it? But it was an article about BlackRock CEO. He was saying how they had billions of dollars of capital on the
Under
side,
management.
yeah, on the sidelines, and they're going to be buying up a lot of so what is it, warehouses, dormitories. What else was it?
All of that commercial
Right
property
in
that
Europe,
is
Yeah.
going, they're kind of going bankrupt
yeah, in
because of
Europe.
the work from home explosion.
So they're going to be buying up a lot of property in Europe, and we all know BlackRock has a ton of property in the United States under
Yeah.
management. So yeah, they like you said, that's what they're going to do. They're going to do what they're going
Yeah.
to do. And we just try to keep our eye on what the people are doing, man. So maybe we could follow suit and see where the money's flowing. See where
Oh
the money.
yeah.
I'm gonna say that they're working very, very hard
Mm-hmm.
to seal up the cracks where we could typically find arbitrage, right? So
Yes.
it's not like years ago where when there was a wealth transfer, the average, when I say the average Joe, I want to say, what's she called? Joe Bag of Donuts?
Yeah, Joe Bag of Donuts.
Joe Bag of Donuts, if he was savvy enough, could get in on it. They're being more cunning. They really want it to be the U.S. corporate, well, not U.S., but corporate, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
global. Corporate versus the people.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
if you're watching carefully, you're noticing that. I do want to welcome some people. He said, I thought your house was on fire for a minute. Hey,
Good
Voice
sir.
Crypto, how you doing? BK Crypto, we're doing well. We're happy to see you. If you know, you know, wrote, I broke down and bought something on Black Friday at Max, had a great deal, and I didn't want to pass on it. Those are the type of shopping. That's the type of shopping we should be
On
doing,
Black Friday, yep.
right? Now, I will give y'all good news with Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Black Friday was the worst Black Friday in the history of Black Fridays. Many of you should be able to search and see, Friday morning TikTokers and other content creators
Yep.
going inside of retail stores
Mm-hmm.
and no one's in there. I work in tech where Black Friday is big as far as PR and marketing, digital marketing, media. And while the messages went out, the sales just weren't there. And for a lot of retail places, they've extended Cyber Monday all the way out through this week because they didn't get the sales they were looking for from Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Yep.
So it also goes to show just how tight the pocket is because, many of us are budget savvy, but your average person isn't, and them not spending is because they don't have it. It's not even I'm going to put it somewhere else more productive. It's showing you the actual financial conditioning and I'm just talking for the US right now, of the US citizens. Um, it's December 1st today, so I'm going to be very, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm going to be very hyper vigilant in watching the shopping trends for Christmas this season, right? Because the season has already started and it's already off to a very slow start.
Yep.
Cryptonomics was concerned that our house was on fire for a minute,
Oh,
his
okay.
television screen. It's a little bit chilly here. I got my hoodie on. I'm cooking and baking, so I'm gonna be in and out while the chief and Simon kind of run the show today. Oh, Cryptonomics said he bought 36 Britannias yesterday. That's a great buy.
You said 36? 36?
Continue dollar cost averaging, continue stacking.
Yeah.
And if you do have extra money, if those of you get Christmas bonuses, aguinaldos for the Hispanics, or whatever type of extra revenue comes your way, find ways to put it in something that is going to preserve your purchasing power.
Definitely. And when you, I'm glad he mentioned that about the Britannias, which is a high tier of a silver round. There's different ways to purchase your silver, and some of those high tier silvers, the American Silver Eagle, the Krugerrand, the Maple Leaf, so on and so forth, so that you have that universal. It's universally recognized around the world. So that's a great buy right there. 36. Get ready to fill up those PGCS boxes that we had showed last week. But what's up, Chief? What you got? What you got on that?
Well, the same stuff, man. If y'all can dollar cost averaging and stuff, do it. But when you're doing it, don't, I would stay away from the meme coins. Meme tokens, they're going to be dead pretty soon. After this bull run, when Bitcoin pulls everything up with it, from all the research that I've been reading about and listening to different people who add value to the type of assets that I invested and then I invest in, I don't, I got 1% of my portfolio into meme coins, and I buy something that is going to do something, whether it's doing something financially, doing something with interoperability, or doing something with security. If you mess with other stuff, then that's fine, but I would not look long term for that. You gotta in this strategy, you gotta think about long-term strategy, long-term outlooks. You got to think about what's going to be here 10 years from now. If I get a chance to enjoy some of this, that'd be great. Which I think for a fact that I am. But I'm trying to set my family up to where the legacy that is built, once my vessel ceases to exist on this plane, and I go to a different, realm, they will be remembering me by, he did everything that he could to set us up for success. Now, if they mess it up, that's on them, but I ain't got nothing to do with it. But I'm investing in stuff like that that's going to build liquidity for my family, and so that I can get things and pay my mortgage off, and then grab the index universal life insurance policy to where my family can become its own bank.
Yeah, that's always something we've been talking about, be your own bank. And I think that's important. It's really hard. I mean, we say it, it's a saying in the community, be your own bank, but it's one of them things that's easier said than done.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of work, a lot of planning, preparation, discipline. So, it's one day at a time. That's why we always we always talk about having that low time preference, where you could just see out, 5, 10, whatever you got, 25-year plan. So that's what we always talk about that, man, because people, like you said, if you get to experience some of the fruits of what you did is good, but you really are doing it for the generations after you. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've been conditioned. Let's be real about everything, man. We've been as Black folk or as indigenous people, we've been conditioned to think about now, get it quick, fast, in a hurry. But like, like we as families know that wealth is not something that's going to be built immediately. It's something that takes time. Just like when you look at the legacy wealth owners in the world, the Rothschilds, the Warburgs, the Vanderbilts, all of them. It's five to six major families that own that owns all the wealth in the world, and like less than 5% of the rest of the world has the rest of it. That shit didn't happen overnight. It wasn't something that they grabbed. It took them decades, if not centuries, to do. We need to get into a long-term mindset. Like I don't hate to say it because they're doing it right. China got 100-year plan. They don't think about what's going to happen in the next decade. When they do shit, China and Japan, they do it for 100 years. They set shit in stone and they make the gears grind and they oil it, and then they look towards the future because they understand that, hey, it's going to take a while for stuff to come into fruition.
And that's true. That's true. We talked about that, having these plans. Some people, 100-year plan. That's wow. That's a multi-generational type of plan. So you have to have extreme discipline to have those plans, and to have extreme discipline with the people within the people of the generations to follow through with the plan. And so that comes from teaching at a very young age, like you're saying.
Small.
Yeah, instilling this into small children. As what do you say? Train the child. You got
Train the child in the way they should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it.
Yep.
Michael Saylor has a 99-year plan and doesn't even have any children. So it just shows you how that is in our counterparts' collective consciousness, and it's one of the reasons too why they get ahead and they stay ahead. Voice Crypto said, "Are you guys on the side of this? You guys are on this side of this is the last bull run. That this is the last chance for our group of people to choose and close the gap. We're behind on wealth because lack of inheritance and policy. This is correct. So something like student debt hits us different because we don't have generational backup." Hi, Blue. Thank you so much for joining us. Let Freedom Ring. Thank you for joining us. I'm not saying that this is the last bull run. I'm saying that globally, corporations are getting together, hence the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
Strategically conspiring against the everyday person to find ways to seal cracks, to keep people from what I like to call independence. Right? We have gotten too cavalier in these last two generations. People own stuff, people have stuff, they're their own bosses. They are not, there's so many people who have a great quality of living and don't work a 9 to 5 or aren't W-2 employees. So I want to make something clear, right? I don't believe that this is the last bull run. I believe that what they are trying to do is they are trying to seal up those cracks where we find arbitrage. And we're able to put our pennies where they put their dollars. So yes, I do believe they are conspiring against us. Remember, the World Economic Forum's main agenda is that you will own absolutely nothing and you will be happy. You will not speak out against them. You will not fight back. You will not rebel. You will not be talking smack on your little podcast, right? Like I'm doing right now. So that is their number one goal that they broke up into multiple agendas.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what our job is to be as strategic as we possibly can in our household, because we do understand that when you run to the ballot box, those people are not in your best interest. They are all working together. On the media, they portray it as though, America's got beef with China and China's got beef with this country and Russia's got beef with that country. No, because when you see them at the World Economic Forum, they greet each other with kisses on the cheek. And I'm not being obnoxious or facetious when I say that. I'm dead serious. They greet each other with handshakes, hugs, and kisses. They sit down at their World Economic Forum, a seminar, and they conspire against us, the people. So right now, it isn't us versus them.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
each household individually has to make the best decisions in these economic times right now before that shift fully takes control over everything. Right now, we're in like what I call a gestational period, not transition, gestation, because they are trying to birth a very diabolical thing. So those are my thoughts
Yeah,
for voice crypto.
I just wanted to say, I don't know if I'm answering the question, but something we always have to remember as we have this perspective on what we're doing in building wealth. And we've talked about multiple shows, right? When you zoom out and you look at global wealth, we talked about 50 percentile is a little bit over $4,000 in wealth globally. So if you have $4,000 in wealth globally, you're in the top 50 percentile.
I don't like that either.
And when you get to the top 10 percentile, you're talking about $90,000 in wealth. I'm not talking about income per year. I'm talking about wealth. $90,000 has you in the top 10 percentile in the world. So when people are always trying to say, oh, you don't have, you're not a millionaire, you're not a billionaire and all that, that's not true. That's speak to throw you off, to discourage you, right? Because you're talking about under 1% when you start talking about millionaires globally. So stay vigilant in building your wealth. Don't get deterred by, I can't get to a certain number. Like, don't let these numbers discourage you, right? Still build the wealth, build wealth, right? People try to say, oh, you're rich, you're not wealthy. I say, but that's not, if you go look at the definition of the word, that has no number attached to it. The definition of wealth has no number attached to it. Remember that. So if you got $100, that's your wealth, right? It's true.
Yeah.
So always, stay vigilant in building your wealth. Never be deterred by numbers and hearing all this stuff about who has this money and that money. Just build your wealth. It, like you said, have that plan out for generations to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When y'all talk about, when Aaron talks about sealing up the cracks in the World Economic Forum, she's absolutely right. What, in simpler terms, what they're doing, they're smashing out the middle class because they want the haves and have-nots. They want to have people that have means and people that don't have means, so that the people that don't have means will be dependent on the people that do have means, and you will be the worker bees for the beehive. So when you're thinking about bull runs are going to be here. Okay. You just may not be able to participate in it because you don't have the means to participate in it. That's all it is. That's why we are saying that you should DCA in the different assets that have value. Do your research and look at stuff clear-eyed. Like me, I'll give you an example. When I first got into digital assets, I started with bullshit meme tokens because it was less than a penny, and I was like, well, shit, I can get 1 million of them, blah blah blah. And if it gets to a penny, but in order for it to get to that point, it'll have to have astronomic implications to go into it. So I changed my strategy once I found out about the different assets that were doing different things. Like, let me give you an example with liquidity. There's 3 main assets that I invest in for liquidity. The main one for me is XRP, which is under Ripple, was created by Ripple. It's XLM, which is an offshoot of XRP Ripple, okay, the Stellar Lumen, and XDC, which is trade finance, which came from R3 Quarter. And what I was talking about BlackRock, just to have a little side note, BlackRock has the same address in New York as R3 Quarter. I just found that out today. So why would they have the same address as R3 Quarter? CORDA. R3 Quarter is with XDC, that's trade finance. There's hundreds of trillions, if not quadrillions of dollars in that market, because that's where goods and services come from. When you look online and you see these ships, these barges with shipping containers, and you see these docks with shipping containers, that's part of that network. And what they're doing, they're making it easier for the manifest to be what they're not making it easier. They're changing the manifest over to a digitized manifest to where there's no paper. And
Yes.
when you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
when you can do that, that's when the value in those assets start to flow. Now y'all gotta understand, you gotta get into a mindset that you know by 2024, once the Bitcoin halving halves and it pulls happens and it pulls all the rest of the assets in the space up, yeah, that might be the last bull run for some of those bullshit assets, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be the last bull run for the assets that survive. There's over 22,000 cryptocurrencies or digital assets that's listed on Coin Market Cap. You can see it in the ticker in the top left corner of coinmarketcap.com.
Yes.
22,000 digital assets will not survive. Full
Right.
stop. Okay. There's going to be, I would say there's going to be, I wouldn't even think that there will be 1,000, because when you think about it, how many Googles do you have? How many Apples do you have? How many IBMs? How many Microsofts do you have? Look at the browsers. Netscape was popping for a while. Is Netscape here? No, it's not. And what they're looking to do, they're looking to bring finance into the digital age to where liquidity and finance moves like an email moves, to where they want T I think T0, to where once they do a transaction, it happens within seconds and not within days. Right now, when
At
you
like,
have to move, yeah, when you have to move finances, a corporation has to move finances, it will be quicker for them to pack all them dollars up on a big ass C-130 and then fly that shit over to where they need it. All right. But with it being digitized within the realm of digital assets and CBDCs are coming, ain't nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen, and you will be a part of it. And a lot of times you won't even know that you're a part of it unless you do your research to understand how everything has changed to the point to where it's just like you know I remember when automatic tellers, ATMs, first came about. The little genie cards. You remember the genie cards, Gordon?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember that.
that was one of the first plastic cards that you had, to where you can go and put that card into a machine and
And get
see and withdraw some of your value. Notice that I'm saying value because you weren't withdrawing money. Money is gold and silver. All
Yeah.
right. And it always will be gold and silver because it's a hard asset. All right. So when it comes to investing in these digital assets like this, you want to have a game plan to where you're looking for the long run. All right. The long run tokens are going to be your ISO 20,022 tokens, because they are going to be the ones that are gigantic in the digital financial space. All right. And you say that I see you, Jake Fever, money is Bitcoin now. That's not
No.
correct. Bitcoin is value. They classify Bitcoin as real estate, and they also say that Bitcoin is a store of
that.
value. Okay, it acts like a hard asset like money, but when you think about it, it's really not. I have a different perspective than even Aaron and Gordon does about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was to usher us into this digital asset space. Then came Ethereum. That's why they are number one and number two. Okay, it is what it is. It wasn't no happenstance. It wasn't no magical shit that happened. Bitcoin was created by a 3-letter agency, I believe, and it's gonna come out in the wash. It's gonna come out in the wash, and the reason why I say that is because uh, one of the creators of the XRP token, who works for Ripple, his name is David Schwartz. He was working on code for Bitcoin. They actually thought he was Satoshi, but when I found out that the Department of Justice met with 4 Satoshis last year, That let me know that all of this was done. So it was a beta test, man. It was done so that people like us who are in this space can come over into the digital world. And then once the ones who are doing just a little bit of research, once we get a foothold in, and then they know that some of us are going to get wealthy or have a lot of value, and they are all right with that. But they don't want everybody in the world, which is what, 8.5 billion. They don't want all of those folks to have a lot of value. There are almost 2 billion people in the world that are unbanked. They don't even have a bank account. There are 1.3 billion people that are underbanked, meaning that they may use a bank or they may not use a bank. It's the reason why they made a cell phone. They made a cell phone so that our bank can be, or the phone can be part of the banking system. They're going to end up putting smartphones, cheap smartphones, in everybody's hand, because that's how you're going to be able to transact.
So let me ask you a question. I got a couple questions off of what you said there. Let's see where we're gonna go with this. I don't want to jump too far down the rabbit hole, but I feel why not? We here. Let's go. So
Sometimes you gotta take your clothes off and jump in here first in that rabbit hole, because the rabbit hole is what they giving you. They ain't giving you nothing but a rabbit hole.
So let me ask you this though. So we're gonna go rabbit hole right here. A lot of people, what you would call, I guess, Bitcoin maximalists out there, sometimes they could be, for one way as opposed to the other. We try to keep balance, but a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, high-end maximalists, maybe who've been into Bitcoin very early, say something, and I'm talking about on a scientific level. They will say things like Bitcoin was not created, it was discovered. On a scientific level, as they would say, the laws of physics weren't created, they're just discovered. You understand where I'm going with that. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, we can say that Bitcoin wasn't created, it was discovered. So that if Bitcoin wasn't created, it was discovered, is something you're saying that it's something that's metaphysical. So what are we? Were we created or were we discovered? I mean, it's all perspective in how you look at shit. I mean, I understand how people feel about it. You can be a maxi. You can be a maxi on Bitcoin all you want, and that's fine. You should have conviction in something that you are getting into. I just understand that if I can't transact with Bitcoin within seconds, are banks going to do it? Are big institutions going to do it? Right. They are not going to do it. They already came out and said that they're not going to do it. There are banking institutions and there are financial institutions that put out, because they have to put it out there so that they can have that karma and say that we told y'all just didn't look it up. Okay. There are banking and financial institutions that already said that Bitcoin will not be used to be in the financial system to move value like that. Now it's going to be a store of value. Bitcoin's going to go up. Bitcoin's going to have, I believe that Bitcoin, and I hold Bitcoin, so don't get me wrong. I hold Bitcoin and I hold Ethereum. Okay. Yeah. I believe Bitcoin by 2030 will be over $1 million. I believe by 2030 that Ethereum is going to be at least 50,000. Okay. Okay. But that's not going to be what is going to be inside the financial structure of the planet. Okay. Right. As far as moving value, doing transactions. And the reason why is because I see you, Jake, and I understand we're just going to have to agree to disagree. The Lightning Network is not fast enough. Okay. The Lightning Network is not fast enough to scale, and it's not scalable in order to do the transactions that they want to do. They're talking about quadrillions of dollars. They're not talking about hundreds of dollars here, thousands of dollars there, hundreds of thousands of dollars here and there. They're talking about moving money to where they can moving value to where they can get rid of these Nostro Vostro accounts that's parked in accounts overseas in different countries. Every country has a Nostro Vostro account in different countries that they do commerce with. Every single country does. Every one. So
So
I
that's
understand what he's talking about, but you gotta broaden your horizons when it comes to these assets, man, because Bitcoin is not going to be the one that, let's say, BlackRock uses. BlackRock already said that Bitcoin is a great store of value, but it won't be used in the financial network. They already said it. And if BlackRock has over $10 trillion in assets under management, I want to put my pennies where they put their dollars, because
yeah.
they are trying to tell you that, hey, you can have it, you can hold it, it's going to be worth something, but it's not what's going to be used.
Yeah, so that's perfect what you said, and I want to slide back to something you just said in that statement. So a lot of times people they talk about Bitcoin, they want to see it at this price point, whatever, 100,000, 250,000, so on and so forth. But I think something that's never talked about enough is as Bitcoin prices move up, there's a certain market cap, right? And you guys fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think $1 billion market cap means about $52,000 Bitcoin. I think that's about the price, right in that range. So the
Yes,
question,
yes, yes, yep.
so the question is, if the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, that means the market cap of Bitcoin will go up. The money has to come from somewhere else and move into Bitcoin. So where do you think the money's coming from
The
to
money's going to
raise the
come from
market cap?
the money's going to come from big institutions like BlackRock,
Mm-hmm.
Vanguard, Grayscale, Ark Invest. It's going to come from that when they do their ETFs, because the reason why all of those big corporations, which I just named off, aren't in it is because it doesn't have regulation. That's
Yes.
why Ripple went through that lawsuit and is still in a lawsuit with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it's been almost 3 years. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why they are doing that is because they need to vet the system. They need to vet that asset and the XRP ledger and the Stellar network in order to say, okay, well, now we can allow there to be an ETF to where these big institutions and these money management corporations can allow their investors to hold anywhere between 1 to 5%. Some may say I want to hold more. Some may say I want to hold less. Um, but that's the way it's going to be. I mean, hey, buddy, say hi to
So,
Mr. Gordon.
oh, is he here? Oh man, man, I was upstairs. I had some toys for him, man. I didn't
That's
know he
all
was.
right. They get ready to go, man. My screen frozen, so they can't see you. Angie said hi, man.
Oh, hey, Angie.
Santana, say hi. He's like, hi.
I don't know where
I'll
they
see
went.
you
They
later,
went
big boy.
on stuff.
Okay. I'll see you later, buddy. All right. Sorry about that, man.
Nah, but nah, no worries. But I was asking because there's a lot of people Bitcoin. I don't know why it has to be a problem between Bitcoin and precious metals, especially gold. But in that market cap change, do you think there'll be a lot of outflow from gold into Bitcoin, and where the gold market cap will lower and Bitcoin
I
market
don't.
cap?
I can't see it being a lot of outflow from gold into Bitcoin for the simple fact that gold is a hard asset. Once a,
Okay.
what have all nations been doing the past 2 years? They have been recalling their gold,
Yeah,
and they
they
have
have.
been buying up gold because they
Mm-hmm.
understand that gold is true physical money. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They've been hoarding it. And the reason why is because they know that the financial system of the entire planet is changing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They know that there is going to be a system that is put in place, and it's going to happen within the next, I would say, the next 2 years at the most, to where you'll wake up and you'll have to transact a little bit differently. There's going to right,
Yeah.
right now the banks are teaching the upper echelon people that's in the banks about blockchain. Blockchain is going to be, ain't no money gold like that. Paper gold is what props it up. Now, well, I mean, you can think that, man. Hard gold is what it. Paper gold is a scam, man. I mean, I would not buy paper gold at all. If I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy hard asset gold and have it stored by a custodian that I feel like I can trust. But you think that you were saying about, are they going to inflow or outflow from gold? I think they're going to keep their gold, and then they're going to run that ETF with Bitcoin, that ETF with Ethereum, okay, because they already filed for it. All right. And I think all the rest of the ones that they deem to have value and they deem that is going to be in the financial structure, they're going to have ETFs for that as well, so that people can, the back offices and the home offices, I'm sorry, and the financial institutions can invest in it.
So I feel like there's going to be a lot of outflow from like bonds. So the bond market, I feel like will see a great deal of outflow, maybe slowly, but over time.
Well, and bonds are not going to be bonds how you think they are. Everything, every single thing is in the process or going through the channels to have regulations approved so it can be tokenized. And when we're talking about tokenized, we're not talking about a physical coin. We're talking about ones, zeros, and letters. When you tokenize something, you're giving it an alphanumeric value. All right.
Right.
It's just like with everything else that's transacted over the internet. It's alphanumeric, and that's how it is. They're going to tokenize everything. They're tokenizing real estate. They're tokenizing the bond market. All right. Larry Fink said it. He was like, the next thing that's going to happen is they're going to tokenize bonds. They're going to tokenize treasuries. They're going to tokenize everything. You're going to be able, within 10 years, you'll be able to buy bits and pieces of real estate. So if somebody is selling an office complex, they're gonna list it on a broker or an exchange, and you'll be able to buy a portion of it. And then that will be part of your investment. You need me to grab something for you?
That's good. Go ahead. Now, I'm reading these out if you needed to. I was going to add a couple more questions.
He's been answering them as he's been talking, but
okay,
I just want to make sure that we did welcome Jake Fever, Nerd Up Inc. Thank you so much for joining us. Let Freedom Ring says as more people understand it, people will demand it. Ain't no money in gold like that. Paper gold is what props it up. Actually, Jake, China owns the world's lion's share of gold, and Chase Bank owns the world's lion's share in silver.
Yes.
And we had a gentleman, go back to some of our old shows. We have a gentleman named Andy Scheckman.
Andy Scheckman is true.
Of Miles Franklin. He's been he's a distributor like Atmex of precious metals. And he was telling us that they're not documenting this, right? But
Angie wanted to say hi real quick.
Hi, Angie.
Hey, Aaron.
Countries have been, just like I heard him say earlier, they've been recalling the gold. Countries are buying megatons of physical gold and having it shipped to their locations and stuff, which is one of the reasons why the dollar is in trouble. Because if all of these, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I'm not trying to push you off.
No, I was just going to say, when she says recalling, so they'll say people who go on the CME group, right, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and they have these gold contracts. What they call it is standing for delivery. So what he's talking about is paper gold being in, quote unquote, the depository, but they're rehypothecating it. So when you stand for delivery, they have to give you the physical gold that you stand for. And, you know, because it's hard to house and
transport it. And
a lot of people don't stand for delivery because you really don't have anywhere. And fact check me again. I think it's 5,100 ounce bars when you get a CME contract. So you got to have a place to put 5,100 ounce bars of gold. Where you going to put that at? You got to be able to protect it. So people rather leave it in a depository because, you know, it's just easier. It's less headache. And so they can sell the same ounce of gold. Some people say up to 500 times.
Yeah, I'm not saying in no way, shape, or form that they're not rehypothecating the precious metals. What I am saying, though, is that countries are purchasing, right? This is new. So I want to say it was either first or second quarter of this year, we did a show where the LNB was missing. They were missing.
Sorry about that.
2 million tons or something like that.
Yeah.
Fact check me,
Where'd it
internet
go?
detectives,
Like, where'd it go?
of silver. And
Yep.
that's when Simon and I jumped down the rabbit hole. We wanted to know where it was going. What was happening is the countries were buying up the stuff again because something is coming, and they weren't documenting it. So it was looking like it was missing, but they're doing these backdoor deals. Anywho,
Yep.
I want to tie that into what we were talking about earlier in the conversation they just had.
Mhm.
When I talk about corporations, global corporations, conspiring against the everyday person, I want you to understand that they put in place what we call systems, right? Look up Dr. Neely Fuller and areas of activity. When we talk about systemic white supremacy, when we talk about systems, they cannot control you or keep a record of you, right? If you're not part of the system. When you think strategically, move strategically, and actually have resources, it's easier for you to pull out certain systems. They have multiple systems because they want to keep you entangled some which way, shape, or form. Right now, what they're trying to do is they were noticing a lot of people jumping out of traditional finance. They want to get y'all back, right?
Yep.
Because you see when we talk about cause and effect, right? Because we're scientists, when we talk about cause and effect, you can kind of see when people started jumping into Bitcoin, jumping into Ethereum, jumping into the networks that they were creating. People were finding ways to jump out of traditional finance. Shout out to the jump out girls. Y'all are my girls.
Oh, yeah, I ain't seen
Yeah.
that.
Long time. No, I'm saying that because that's what they say, jump out.
There you go.
They jump out of
Yeah.
traditional finance into a more kind of DeFi thing. You can kind of see some of the consequences of that today with the fall of some of these banks, with the consolidation of some of these banks, and with some of the agendas that they're pushing globally, right? They need to find a way to have an account where you cannot buy or sell without them making a profit off of you. And it has
Exactly.
gotten to the point lately that too many people, if you're W-2, you're in the system. If your children go to any type of school, public or private, you're in the educational system. If you did time, you're in the penal system, right? Whether you did your time complete and you're on probation, you're on parole or whatever, you're still part of the penal system.
Yeah.
What other systems am I missing?
Well, did you do
There were
political?
9, the political system. If you go to the ballot box, you keep up your registration, you're part of the political system. There's 9 areas of activity.
Yeah, war, sex, education.
Right, the war against, and I'm talking about in the Black community, the enmity between the man and the woman, right? That is a war against, it's a political psyop, right? The LGBTQ community, if y'all are getting up with each other, that means there's no procreation happening, which is still enmity between a man and a woman if the two aren't getting together to procreate. That's
Yes.
why the birth rates are down and the death rates are higher than the birth rates, because they are finding ways to get the two parties to not get together and build
Yep.
and not procreate, or creating legacy.
That's where you get the below replacement that you hear. It's a big problem that they don't talk about as much because it's among Western nations, these first world nations that we talk about, United States, Canada, UK, Australia, and nations like that are below replacement as far as meaning people are dying faster than being born. And that's a problem. You know, that is a problem. And it's like, it's something that started way back with the feminist movement, right? What was it, 2.5 Kids?
And that's a whole show in itself, but
It
it's
sure
hard
is a whole show.
to control
It's over.
a lot of people. We have to find ways to depopulate just a little bit, get them to do it themselves in order to better, because this is all about control. And this is why we're saying you need to take control of your household, financially, economically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, right? You have to take control of your household because they want control of your household, but more importantly, they want control of your mind. And if
Exactly.
they can control how you think, then that means they can control how you behave. And right now, they're doing a really good job of it. When I say you, I don't mean you guys that I'm talking to. I mean you in general.
Yeah. Look, I gotta,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I gotta address let freedom ring. I understand how you feel and what you're saying about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is not easier to transact peer to peer. because it takes too long. That's what I'm saying. They don't want, when you transact peer to peer, you will not get your Bitcoin within seconds. It won't happen. It doesn't happen. I know this for a fact because I have Bitcoin. All right, I'm stacking Bitcoin. I DCA on Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin, like a whole Bitcoin. Okay, and I know how it works. The reason why I'm high on the other assets is because if I was to send Gordon, 1,000 XRP, he would have it within 8 seconds. Full stop. Flat out. Dead ass. I can't say it no more finer than that. Use the Lightning Network. You keep saying use the Lightning Network, but the Lightning Network is not as fast as the XRP ledger. It's not as fast as the Stellar Network. It's not as fast as XDC. It's not as fast. And the reason why is because right now it's a legacy. When was Bitcoin created? Bitcoin was created in 2009. It's 2023. We are in the information age. We're in the age of knowing. The technological age had already started before the information age. All right. The way that shit scales now is way faster than that. No, well, I get it, Jake. You can feel that way all you want to, man. You need
Jake
to
said,
You need 1,000 worth of sex.
you need to do a little bit of research on XRP, my guy. Okay, do that. Do research on the X tokens, and then your comment is not going to age well. That's what I'll say about that. Now, I don't, you can feel however you want to feel about it. I'm looking at it clear-eyed because I'm looking at what bankers are talking about. All right, I'm not looking at what I feel. I took my emotion out of this stuff a long time ago, because when you deal in emotions, a lot of times when you deal in emotions, you're gonna make the wrong move. So you got to look at stuff clear-eyed, do some research, and understand what you are investing in and what you are holding. Everything can go to zero. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all of that.
The dollar.
Nobody. I understand. I'm not saying that bankers control Bitcoin. I didn't say that. So don't put words in my mouth. I did not say that at all, bro. But you got to understand, or young lady, whichever one you are, I don't know what you are, and I'm trying to be respectful. But you should do if you would do an hour of research, you would understand. Okay, so I know you're not emotional. You saying that Bitcoin is a system that's outside of the bank, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Jake. You are not. Nobody is going to get rid of the banks. Nobody. They will roll tanks out in the streets and kill people on live TV before they allow the average person, to just control monetary value with Bitcoin. It's not going to happen. Think about it. Look at your world. I'm sorry, Aaron. But look at the world. It doesn't matter what country you're in at all. Let's take countries out of it. Let's say we were all in the same place. Do you think the few people that's in charge, there's a few family that are pulling the strings? Presidents don't run shit. They are figureheads. Okay? Heads of state. I didn't say it was not going to be here. Heads of state don't run things. There are people that's in the background that you never see that are running things in the world. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you, because, from everything that I know from being in life, in the military and all of that, they're not going to let Bitcoin rule the world monetarily. It's not going to happen. Nations have fallen. Nations have been conquered because of value, because of currency. I'm sorry, y'all, but go ahead.
So what I was trying to say is that when I talk about the sealing up of the cracks, right? Because the macro view is important on the micro things that we do, right? So the banking system, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about these different systems. Jake Fever did help me out with the healthcare system, right? There are multiple systems. What they're trying to do is they are trying to get a better stronghold on the banking system, because they are seeing, they're trying to do what we would call military-wise a stop loss, right? So Jay, yes, the slaves ended, but the slaves knew no different than slavery's ending again. It's not. They're trying to create
Slavery
a
is still
whole
going on right now. They just changed it. They took the chains off of your arms and legs and they put it on your mind. Slavery
yeah,
ain't.
because what they want to do is they want to implement, like I said, the smart cities. They want to
Yeah.
have more of a control. They want to have more restrictions on freedom, in order to gain a stronghold on your economic potential. And this is what's important.
Yeah.
No. Bitcoin is not irrelevant as an asset. No.
No.
But the point
Huh.
that I
At
think that
all.
we've all arrived to collectively is the understanding that what we want to do is we want to make strategic moves within each household individually, so that collectively we can strengthen ourselves against some of the agendas and objectives that they have for us economically, right? Because really, when they are siphoning off your economic strength,
Yep.
they are siphoning off an energy from you, whether that energy is
Yep.
emotional or spiritual or physical. And a lot of times,
Yep.
if it's economic, it is physical and mental, right?
Yep.
They're
Right.
still siphoning off a significant amount of energy for you. And what Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum is strategically trying to put together is, how can we siphon off 99.99% of every single human being's economic potential?
Yeah. And we also have to remember this, because they are implementing things and they have these plans, 100-year plans, that these things that they have that we see that are aimed at us are typically aimed at the younger generations, because
Yes.
that's who's going to come up. They're going to run the world. They're going to be the government and all this. And we see it as an attack on us. But they're really talking to the younger ones.
Yeah.
That's why we have to get the information to them.
But that's because we knew what the world was like before.
Yeah.
These young ones coming up don't know any. They know Robux. They know gaming tokens.
Yep.
Their world is a virtual world. Even when we pay the bills, no one sees you write a check and pay the bill like we did when we were children, right? You saw a physical outpouring of wealth from your mom, from your dad to the bill collectors. Our children don't see that. It's just a book, and the rent's paid, book, credit cards paid, book, car notes paid, insurance is paid. They don't even get to see that. So their whole world is already digital. And we're going to fight back. They're not, because they're in their mind, this is the way it is. Cryptonomics said he's ready for his CBDCs. Give them to me. What they want to
Yeah.
do, and this is important, right? So when we talk about psychological control, economic control, physiological control of the average citizen, what they want to do is they want to implement you in the financial system in such a way that you're rewarded when you behave well, and
Yep.
you are heavily penalized even with minor infractions, right? Infractions.
Yep.
When you make little itty bitty mistakes or big mistakes, it's going to be heavy penalization in order to make you an example to the next person.
Yeah.
They are going to
Yep.
create a race of what I like to call snitches. Your neighbor's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
telling everything you do in order to make more money.
Yeah. Because it's
that-
going to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gordon.
Well, I wanted to go back off of what Cryptonomics said, because I had this article I wanted to read about, but he said, what did he say? Read it again for me. I'm sorry.
I'm ready for my CBDC.
He said, I'm ready for my CBDCs. All right. So this is an article I came across yesterday afternoon. It's about the BRICS nations. The BRICS nations, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and China signed a currency swap CBDC partnership. Okay, so I'm gonna just read a little bit. Amid the rising prevalence of the BRICS economic alliance, both the United Arab Emirates and China have signed a currency swap and central bank digital currency partnership. Specifically, the countries announced the renew of a currency swap agreement. Meanwhile, they have linked a memorandum of understanding to partnership on CBDC development. So you see right there, there is a fight to get away from dollarization, de-dollarization, but you're looking at some of the strongest nations, China. India is always involved in this, right? South
Yeah,
Africa
they're a
and the
little bit more
United. Yeah.
apprehensive, right? Because they're scared of America.
So what do
But
you think about that, Chief? We got now over here, the BRICS nations, they're going to have their own CBDC. And conversely, you see the dollar strengthening. So now you got moving away from the dollar, but on the DXY, you see the dollar strengthening, which
Yeah.
you would think that both couldn't
doesn't make
happen, but
sense.
we'll see. So what would you say?
Well, I mean, the dollar is going to strengthen, it's going to get weakened, it's going to strengthen, it's going to get weakened. It's about 20 more years for the dollar to be in existence or more, 20 years or more. And the reason why is because what does the world economy run off of? The world reserve currency right now is the US dollar, okay? The power is shifting towards the east, all right? Now, there's not going to be, I do not think, and from everything that I'm reading and hearing, I don't think that there's going to be one reserve currency going forward after the dollar loses the U.S. loses the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. I think there is going to be either a basket of currencies or a basket of commodities called SDRs, the standard digital rights, that are going to be used in order to move goods and services over the internet of value, because that's what we're all talking about. We're talking about the internet of value right now. Everything is going to be on the internet. Everything is going to be accessible. Everything is going to be able to be looked at all at once. Everything always all at once. It's going to happen. All right. Now, well, I mean, I get you, Jake, as far as nobody getting off the dollar without bombs flying. That's what they're doing right now. That's why, look, it's proxy. The shit over in Ukraine is a proxy war between China, Russia, and the U.S. All right, the U.S. is funding the U.S. was funding Ukraine. All right, and really what they're doing, they're funding Ukraine to get back at Russia. All right. I mean, it's all of this shit is happening, and it is something that I don't totally understand. There's something that Gordon and Aaron don't totally understand, and there's something that Jake and Let Freedom Ring and everybody that's in this call, they don't understand. Okay, because they don't know, because the people that is running this shit, that's pulling the strings, are not seen, they're not heard. They just tell people what to do, and these people do it because they are emboldened, and they are under their cabal. That's how it is, and that's right. Truth, trust, truth. That's all a stage show. It's all a stage show. I had to tell my wife to, like, look, all this shit that you're seeing on these news networks, you got to understand, all of that shit is not true at all. It's not true. It's all a distraction. Yeah, there's people dying. People are going to die in those proxy wars. People are going to die, period. And that's what they want. But the main thing that they want the masses to be distracted, so that, one, they don't think like us and say, hey, this new financial network that's coming about in the form of digital assets, which will incorporate CBDCs, okay, that it's all going to be part of this network, and they don't want everybody to be privy to it. They know that right now it's less than 4% of the population that are in cryptocurrency. It's climbing to 5%, okay, and it's going to probably get up to about 10%. But they're going to cap that shit off try to cap it off before it gets to 10%, because in their mind, that's too many live persons that will know about it and that will have a chance to be independent financially. Okay.
So let me ask then.
I
So
don't
we
look. I'm telling. Let me answer Jake. He asked, "Why do you trust the founders of XRP, XLM, and XDC?" Jake, I don't trust you. I don't trust nobody. Okay, I don't. And the reason why is because who do you really know? Okay, I don't trust them fools. But if those companies that created those digital assets are in the banking system and they want to be regulated because they know that the banking system is not going anywhere. And if they know that the banking system isn't going anywhere, then they know that it's value to be had. And when they tokenize everything and when everything gets converted, the banks are going to be there. The banks are going to be there. The financial institutions are going to be there. The asset managers are going to be there. A lot of people, a lot of everyday people are not going to be there. And they are going to be beholden to the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies that will be programmed. And it may or may not in different countries be programmed to be adverse to humans. I think in a lot of countries it will be. It might even be that way in the U.S. because the U.S., to be honest with you, the U.S. ain't for the right thing. If they was, it wouldn't have been the home of chattel slavery. I mean, let's keep it real with everything. All right, there humans. Period. Some humans. Period. All they want is power. The ones that's got the ones that's got the power, they want to keep power and they want to get more power. Power equals anything that you want. It goes beyond money. Power is everything.
So if you digging back into what you said it's about 20 years, you say, with the dollar being the reserve currency, right? You said
Yeah.
20, about 20 years we could see that. There's studies that tell you how long a reserve currency lasts,
Yeah.
over cycles and generations. So while you have access to the reserve world currency, people like us who may still get paid in US dollar globally, and it's being strengthened and held up, what should we strategically do with it while we still have access to it? Where should we be putting it? That's why I like to talk about Bitcoin and precious metals.
Exactly.
We still have
Bruh.
access to it while it's here. Let's make some use of it before
Exactly.
it's gone, right?
So after I do my everyday bill paying and all that bullshit, because bills are bullshit, all the taxes is bullshit. After I do all of that, buy my goods and services that I need for my family, I still invest in hard assets and I invest in digital assets that I know from doing research and listening to banking institutions and big corporations who say that they are using digital assets to transfer, to transact and do things. So what I'm doing, I'm DCAing. I DCA in the Bitcoin. I just bought some Bitcoin today.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so you don't think that I just only buy ISO 20,022 tokens, Jake from State Farm. It's not like that, man. You got to understand. You got to understand that I am clear-eyed about this, man. I'm not just I'm not a ISO 20,022 what do they call maxi. I just know you like that, huh, Jake? I just know that if they said that they're gonna use that shit, if banking corporations and home offices say that, hey, we just waiting on the regulations so that we can start allowing our investors to put a portion of their holdings into that, then why wouldn't you? Okay, I mean, in all actuality, if something happens and everything goes to zero, then everybody's fucked. Excuse my language, but that's how it is. I mean,
I do want to say something else too. As we sit and we are, he said, I love the show, y'all.
Jake,
Thanks, Jake.
Jake, on some real stuff. I don't know you from Adam, but I truly can say, and they can attest to this, I love you too. All right. And the reason why is because you are interacting with us. And it's the reason why you are here. We are all here at this time for a specific reason. So thanks for that.
What I wanted to say is hi KW1, thank you so much for joining us. KW1 says she loves the show too. Let Freedom Ring loves the show. Let Freedom Ring's been with us for a long time, by the way. When we strategically look at the economy, when we are looking at current events, world events, when we are looking at how they're moving versus how we need to move, also understand this is a good psyop for yourself, right? So a psychological operation for yourself. You are creating, and as scientists, right, it is exercising your brain to not get pulled into what we call an egregor. What an egregor is like a big thought cloud in a community. So for instance, I think, who won the Super Bowl last year? Was it the Eagles?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs?
Chiefs.
So the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, right? So just imagine that the entire city of Kansas City, whether they were football fans or not, they all get sucked into this emotional thought cloud, right? Everybody's on a high. Whoever they played, that city's on a low. You also have those egregors you can see with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. You have those are for one side, those are for the other, and they create what we call an egregor, right?
And you know, egregors, they have levels, right? Because you could just see in neighborhoods of poverty. It could just be what, a 4-block radius?
Yeah.
It was just an egregor.
Or an
over
egregor of murder, like in the south
homicide.
side of Chicago, parts of the Bronx with the drill rap and stuff. So the point that I'm making is there's also an egregor when it comes to obeying
Yes.
the rhetoric, the propaganda that's being fed to people economically, families. You can see there's an egregor in the space, unfortunately, for Black people with the single women and the single men. That's an egregor. So what I'm saying is when we go through the trouble to sit and have these discussions, okay, this is what they are doing. This is how they're conspiring against us. Here are some things that we can do in order to kind of either counteract that, to prepare for it, to mitigate against it, to reduce some of the risk that comes with it, et cetera, et cetera. You are training yourself to not think like herd thinking.
Yes.
Right? So this conversation, I said in the Black community, trust truth only because I don't see it in other communities. But maybe, but men or women, I'm just saying that it's an egregor, right? The manosphere is an egregor. Men go their own ways, an egregor. The women who don't want you to take them to Applebee's on a first date, that's an egregor, right?
Yeah.
Women who only want to have that, that's an egregor. So I'm just showing you this herd type mentality. And the point that we're coming to is these discussions help your brain to not get sucked into that system,
Yes.
right? Because herd thinking is the first step in getting you fully initiated. And I'm using these words, this is precision of language. Fully initiated in either a system or a multi-system dynamic.
Yep.
So yes, get your Bitcoin, dollar cost average, right? We don't even need to argue about what works better for what household and so on and so forth. But just understand that the exercise of it on a psychological level is helping to separate you from herd mentality, separate you from propaganda, separate you from political, socioeconomic rhetoric.
Exactly.
And that's what these shows are supposed to do. They're supposed to stimulate thinking. It's supposed to stimulate strategy. You know, they are playing a high level, multi-dimensional chess. We out here playing shoots and ladders. Like, we got to get serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You're
We got to
right.
get really, really serious.
Let me answer.
Question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I got one last question, just as, it's kind of a pivot off of what we're saying, but I think it ties all in together. I've come across a lot of people, whether they're emailing us, we see them on YouTube, social media, a lot of people who are, what I would say, Bitcoin and digital asset investors, as well in gold and silver. And these people are also wanting to be off the grid.
Oh yeah.
So then, so I go and dig deep, like, okay, let me see what's going on, how you off the grid and how you use digital assets and precious metals. And I see what they're doing. There's a level of bartering back and forth with the digital assets and or precious metals. These are people that you will see, and I believe it's happening more than we think that it is. People are wanting to just get their plot of land. They're growing their own foods. They're making sure they have their things that we talk about. They're prepared with their water, their canned goods.
Because they're
non-perishable
willing to
items.
sacrifice convenience, comfort, and luxury
Yes.
for real independence.
Real independent.
Say it one more time, Aaron. Say it one more time.
Because they are willing to sacrifice comfort, luxury, and convenience for real independence.
Yeah.
I tell y'all all the time, we live in the bush.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta go to the supermarket every single day. You
Every
can't
day.
buy groceries for the week and put it in your fridge. It just don't work that way here. We
Nah.
live in a mountain, we get water delivered. Just so Simon, myself, and the children can be outside of the airspace, we can think better. I tell y'all, go on vacation, go somewhere else, come out of the U.S. airspace.
Get the hell out
How
of the
your
U.S.
thinking changes,
Get out of the U.S. whenever you can.
and how
Right.
you think, and what you think about, and how you can focus, and how you can build.
Yeah.
Like I said, take that sabbatical, right? Today is the Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hi,
Yeah.
dear Bit. And you really want to, I'm using the word strategic a lot because this is the time now, right? This is what we've all been preparing for. Because it's coming, and it's going to come a lot faster than you think. It's going to come
Yes,
like
it
a thief
is.
in the night. Once they say, yep, we wrote the bill, it's ready to go, this is the law now. You don't want to be scrambling and scraping, according to Diddy, in order to figure out what it is that you're going to do next.
You're
You wanna be
absolutely right.
thinking about it every day. You want to be preparing for it. Get your extra food. This isn't just about dollar cost averaging Bitcoin and precious metals and whatever tokens and stuff you're into. It's also about having your household prepared. Do you have extra water? Do you have non-perishable goods? If there's an emergency and electricity is out for more than a day, do you have the chargers and a backup plan? Like,
Generators.
are you able to sustain yourself without the help of Uncle Sam, without the intervention of Uncle Sam, without somebody having to be your literal physical savior that does not have your best interest in mind?
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, Jake is on one when he said guns and butter. He on some shit.
No, that's
Now,
for real though, right?
I
It's
get
like
it, but
firearms,
guns.
especially
Hold
in the
on.
U.S., because
Get
your
artillery
vice
up.
president and your current sitting president are working diligently day by day to figure out how they can repeal your amendment to bear arms.
Exactly.
They are
I
trying
know
to
that.
figure out how to abolish it.
You already know. I know that. I was in the military. I get it. So I'm just saying, guns and butter. It's funny to me.
He right though.
Guns
You
and
do a lot of
fucking
stuff with
butter. That's crazy. But let me answer a couple of questions. Jake asked. He said, "Yes, big bro. Tell the folks it's important to own BTC. First, like we all do, then move to alts. I truly believe get to one BTC or die trying." Now, I totally understand what you're saying, and I get it. That's why I bought one BTC and I dollar cost average so I can get more BTC. But when you look at BTC as an asset class, pretty soon there are going to be no more Bitcoins because you got people like ARK Invest, you got David Saylor, you got all these mugs that's buying up Bitcoin, billionaires that's buying up Bitcoin. It's going to be gone quick. Now, yes, Jake, I'm talking to you. Yes, it is important to own Bitcoin. It is very important to own Bitcoin. It is very important to own Ethereum. And the reason why I say those two is because they are the legacy assets. They are the first two that brought this nascent asset class into fruition. Okay. And they are going to be here. They are not going anywhere. There's too many things that's on the Ethereum network. Mostly all of the tokens that's in existence right now have to run on Ethereum. All right. That's why they created the Ethereum virtual machine in order for other assets that aren't on Ethereum can communicate with the Ethereum network. So yes, if you can get to 1 BTC, then you are going to be better for it. I'm not saying that you're not. My mindset is that it is better to have one or some BTC and other assets that are going to be used in this new system than it is not to have one BTC or some BTC and none of the other assets. I am not against Bitcoin. I am not against Ethereum. Get that, and understand that. If I was against it, I wouldn't hold it. Okay. These two folks that y'all can see on the screen, they know me, and they know that if I was against some shit, I ain't gonna play with it. I ain't gonna mess with it at all. I don't play that because I don't believe that if I'm totally against it, why the hell should it be anywhere in my wheelhouse? All right. Mm-hmm. Now the other one is KW1. What is the reason why we are here, Chief? I want to hear your thoughts. The reason why we are all here is because we have taken all or a portion of our blinders off. We are not thinking like everybody else in the world. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, there is about 4% of the population of the world that are investing in digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the alts. Okay, 4%. That's a very, very, very low figure in the scale of humanity. The reason why we are here is because we believe that these things are going to have value, and these things are going to propel us into the future. That's why I think that we are here. I don't think that we just here because I can talk for myself. I'm not here so y'all can hear my loud ass voice. I'm a loud ass man that speaks his mind, and my truth may not be your truth. The reason why I am here is because I want y'all to understand that these assets are going to propel you into the future. Okay. And yes, one Bitcoin will be very beneficial to you going forward. One Ethereum is going to be very beneficial for you going forward. So no, I'm not against it. Okay. And I'm not somebody who is a maxi on ISO 20,022 tokens. I just know from what research that I did that those are going to be the assets that are going to be heavily utilized in this new economy that we are coming into, because no economy stays the same. The only thing that is constant is change.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I just wanted to put out there, as a technical thing for our Bitcoin investors, as it goes now, the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140, right? So you can see how long that goes out, which is what a little bit less than 120 years, but still, it'll get here quicker than you think. So yes, yep. Ultimate scarcity, the last one will be mined in 2140. And so that's something to keep in mind. You can buy something that is available now that maybe generations down the line doesn't exist. They won't.
Or it's not available. It exists.
It's not available.
It's not available.
So we got to buy it now while it's available and pass it on.
I do want to piggyback, KW1. I know that your question was for Chief, but I do want to kind of tell you guys, Simon and I were one, right? This is my Siamese twin, y'all. And you can see that our show is very different than the other shows on this channel, right? Which is mainly economic, financial. Simon and I have always put together shows that were more multifaceted, multi-dynamic than just the financial and economic, because the reason why we're here and we go live and talk to y'all, and I'm about to remix what Tupac said, but is to spark your mind in order to change your own world. Not to spark the mind that will change the world, but to spark your mind in order to give you whatever tools, resources, inspiration, insights, ideas you need to change your own world, right? And y'all can see that as a large family, Simon and I are very big on, we are our own domain. We're our own kingdom in a sense. And we cannot rely on some guy in Washington, D.C. who doesn't even know that we exist, does not care that we exist. And when you start looking at how they roll things out, would prefer that we didn't exist. So our show is to really give you macro and micro level information in order to show you what your options are. That's really why we're here, right? At this point, yes, we do talk about generational wealth. We talk about preparedness. We talk about strategy, I should say. We talk about strategy. We talk about methodological movement. We talk about travel. We are talking about diversifying your personal life in a way that your portfolios, whether it's your life portfolio, whether it's your financial portfolio, whether it's your emotional portfolio, your spiritual portfolio, all benefit from it, because the change in your mind will permeate all of those levels of self, right? So I tell you, I move with the Spirit, right? I move with the Holy Spirit. That's how I roll. That's how this household rolls. That's for me and my house. We will serve the Lord. And we just want to talk to our community and say there's a better way than Democrat and Republican, right? There's a more strategic way than hoping. Remember that hope thing? Y'all remember that in 2008? Then hoping that this party or that party or whatever, because it's the wings of the same bird, are going to do right by you and give you the things that you deserve. No, you have to give yourself the things that you deserve. You have to prepare for your own household. You have to think for yourself and for your household. You are your own kingdom. And if you see it as such, you would start to move like a real organization. You move in terms of executive officer, operating officer, financial officer, information officer. You'll move in that way, and everybody will naturally kind of move their talent towards the roles needed in order to kind of get this ecosystem not surviving but thriving.
Exactly.
There you go.
So, what to piggyback on what you just said, you were absolutely right with that hope BS. I call it BS is because now, I mean, when we was going through it, I was all for it. But now that I step back and look at it from 1,000 feet, I'm gonna ask y'all, what happened those 8 years? What did we see those 8 years when our boy was in there?
We
And I ain't talking.
thought nothing.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think it was another psyop, and yeah, you know, I understand how people may feel about it, but now that I look at it from a different view, what did we actually see on network television that whole 8-year span that we really didn't see any other time? We saw more black men getting shot by the police,
Oh
getting
yeah.
shot by other people, being killed
He said he got it.
live. Okay, live
He got it.
on network television than any other time. Now, why did that happen? That's the $1,000 question. Why did that happen? We
They don't
we got
care
a
about us.
so-called indigenous president that's in there, okay? And you got more black men on network television getting beat down, getting killed than any other time in my 54-year history. I can't remember that. I can't remember any other time where I saw that. We ain't seeing it right now. We ain't
I
seeing it at the
agree.
scale that we were seeing it. And people don't look, the game that is being played on us as indigenous people. All right. And I don't say black because we are not black. All right. We're melanated and we are indigenous to every single continent in this realm. We are. Everything came from us. We are the indigenous folks. The reason why we saw that is because we had to be clamped down even further. But for some of us, that was something that it might not have happened during the time. It may have happened. It may have happened a little bit after, like me. I came to the conclusion that that was all pre-programmed.
Of course.
Okay, it was all pre-programmed, and it
Mm-hmm.
was pre-programmed for a reason.
Right.
All right, and I think it was pre-programmed to let us know, like, look, you know, this is where y'all gonna be. This is where y'all always gonna be. All right, and this is what's gonna happen if you try to take those blinders all the way off.
Right.
And you can tell a person like me that all you want to, but I'm gonna stand on my 10 toes. I still got 10 of them mugs, man. I'm gonna stand on all of them, and I would rather down my feet than down my knees. So
Mm-hmm.
they can do that all they want to. I'm going to buy up these assets. I'm going to do what I feel that's best for my family, and I'm gonna try to gain generational wealth. And let me tell y'all, get your wheels together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On more important than a will, get your living trust
Mm-hmm. In order.
in
Paperwork.
order. Okay. Because a will ain't shit in the eyes of the state. The state will still annex your shit. Think about it, man. You can have a will all you want to, but if
Mm-hmm.
something is owed, if it ain't under the trust, which a trustee is in charge of, but the trust is the entity that owns it, and the trust cannot be superseded by anything. All right, so just look in the trust. All right, get a trust attorney, and get your house under the trust. Get your assets that you feel that's valuable under the trust. Get all of your family members under the trust, and then have them, once y'all get y'all wealth, have them get trusts. All
Right.
right, because I'm telling you, if you don't, they will come for you. It's
Right.
gonna happen, man. Things are moving so fast right now. It's unbelievable, man. I just don't want, you know, I'm a loud person. I talk a lot of smack, but I care about my people, period. Full stop. And I'm not going to stop caring about y'all. And the reason why I care about y'all, because you are me, I am you. Whether we believe it or not, we are one conscious having an experience in different vessels.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's another show for another time. And
Another
we
day.
gotta,
Right.
yeah, ain't it? Ain't it? You
Right.
already know, Aaron. And we're gonna have that show at some point in time, because it's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's a lot of stuff that's being done. It's a lot of stuff that's happening around us that we need to talk about. But
Yes.
when
Yeah.
it comes to these assets, get these assets, y'all. If you believe in Bitcoin, buy it. If you believe in Ethereum, buy it and hold it. I was
Mm-hmm.
yesterday and today I was putting stuff on my ledger. Put it in a cold wallet. Get your stuff off of the exchange. If you have assets, take it off the exchanges. Because
And no,
what's happening right now? What they do to Binance? They annexed Binance. They told CZ, they was like, look, cuz, give me $4 billion. We ain't gonna put you in jail, but you're gonna go bye-bye for 3 years. You ain't the CEO no more. And who did they install? They installed a person that was in charge of the New York Stock Exchange. That
Mm-hmm.
right there is telling you that they are about to start tokenizing stocks, bonds, treasuries, and other assets. They're gonna tokenize everything, y'all.
I do want to welcome a few people. I got a little bit behind, but I want to welcome Vaughn. Vaughn said they're really enjoying this. Whistletone, I want to welcome you, Whistletone. You've been on a few shows well, and you did have a question about us investing in land. So I'm going to tell you, I
Yeah,
personally don't like physical real estate. We've been there, did that, and it's a liability before it becomes an asset.
yeah.
Two,
I get
with
it.
the World Economic Forum not wanting you to own anything, taxes is a great way for you to pay for something and give it right back. Right?
Yeah,
So if you're not keeping up with the taxes, if you're not keeping up with permits, if you don't have stuff right, if you don't have the overhead in order to turn it into an asset, a revenue generating property, it's really a liability. Two, Bitcoin by the IRS is categorized as real estate in cyberspace. So Simon and I offset the ownership of physical real estate in Bitcoin. right? So we are Bitcoin maxis. Also in physical precious metals, right? Whatever mortgage I would have paid that month for that particular land or property, right? We buy about that amount in precious metals. That way, upon our demise, our children, and hopefully really our grandchildren, because it's for the grandchildren, it's not for the kids. We take care of the kids in our lifetime. It's for the grandchildren, give the grandchildren a head start. It is a physical asset that can just be handed over with no legal,
That's the key right there.
no legal intercession.
It's easily transferable, right? If you got physical silver in your home somewhere you have access to, you can just hand that over. Like he said, no, not the state getting involved and saying no.
Right, the
no.
kids know, even as young children, we let them sit and play with the silver, hold it, look at it, look at its value, understand it, so
Yep.
that when they get it, it's not like, oh, wow, we rich. It's like, oh, I've grown up with this, I'm used to this, I understand how to manage it, I understand, what uses it has, I understand its utility. It's a situation where we want it into our grandchildren and great-grandchildren's collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So there's
Exactly.
that. I want to welcome Ken Mitchum, who was also enjoying the show. Les Square said they are loving the conversation. I don't know if I should shout out to BK Crypto, but just in case I did, I'm going to shout you out again, BK Crypto. Wendell Mayo, that's a new name. KW1 said Aaron. Did you want something, KW1? Stream Elements, that is the bot. And then J Phil, he been wilding today. Yeah, Gentleman of Crypto channel was on fire today. King did kill it this morning. We watched it.
Yeah.
And he said we did this evening. Chief is fired too. So we really appreciate y'all. We've had y'all on here for a long time.
Yeah.
We are at the 1 hour, 31 minute, 35-second mark
I kept saying I was gonna
of
go
your
short.
Friday evening when y'all could be doing anything else.
But being
y'all
here with
running-
my loud ass.
But we
Look, I understand. I get it. But don't get it twisted. Some of y'all may want to own physical real estate. I would rather own physical real estate. And when I say this, I'm not talking about Bitcoin, so don't get it twisted. I would much rather own physical real estate than metaverse. I do not want to own no virtual metaverse land, because is it really real? I want to
It's
go
the
be
way to
able to
rehypothecate it. I'm telling you, they're
exactly.
coming up with all types of ways to
Yeah.
siphon off your economic energy.
Exactly. Why would I pay $100,000 for some virtual real estate when there's a plot of land down the street from my house and I can buy it and sit on it? And if it's somewhere where Target want to build, then that's something that my legacy can say, okay, well, if you want to build it, this is how much you need to give me in order to have it. When I do own physical real estate, just like my house and all other assets that I will be purchasing, it's going to go under the umbrella of the trust, because that is the way to protect it better than just having a will. Because if you do it any other way and you don't handle your business properly, you are at more risk. Okay.
And like I say, Chief, we've done a couple shows and we can revisit it. We call it paperwork, keeping your paperwork in order, getting your paperwork in order. So it's a very important thing what you're saying here, because it just very small things, you can lose everything that you worked your whole life for. And so
like our paperwork, we have detailed instructions. Like I said, this is my Siamese twin. And, God forbid if something happened to me, it could very well happen to him too, because we be together all the time. So we have very detailed instructions given to our oldest and my middle son, right? So the 16-year-old and the 22-year-old. That way, if God forbid something happens, nobody has to jump in and help them. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly where things are. They have the keys. They have the precious metals. They have the PIN numbers. They have the account numbers. They have the real estate deed information for the house we do own. And there is no need for a legal entity to come in, not really help you, and profit off of what we tried to do for them in life. right? So Sean, in a sense, is the power of attorney, is the financial power of attorney, is the medical power of attorney. Get those things in order just in case something happens. But when you raise your children a certain way, a very specific way, and we are two military parents, right? We met in the military. So they have a different level of discipline than, say, typical kids their age, right? They have what we call jobs in the household. They have roles in the household. We run our household like corporations run their organization, right? You have a job description,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be on the business end of not performing your role in the organization. So when we talk about
Right.
education, not only did we pull our children out of the educational system, but we also discipline them. I don't want to say train because you train a monkey. Discipline them and mentor them and cultivated them in a way where if something happened to us today, this is still gonna, they'll be grieving, but this is still run like a fine oil machine. There won't be
Word.
a break or the organization will not fall apart because the current sitting CEO and COO had a demise, God forbid, right? So these are also things that you want to just kind of keep in mind. And that's why I said the whole point of our show isn't to
It's not to do that.
promote, dollar. Yes, do it. But we really want to just spark your mind and give you insight and ideas
Yeah.
in a way that you can change your own world, be sovereign in a sense in your own kingdom.
Right. And I'm not gonna split hairs or anything with my wife. I am a proponent of the word train. Yes, we did train them. I
I
know
say this.
people get offended by the word train and all
Yeah,
that.
people
and
don't like it.
And I'm like, I don't
I don't care about the word train, but people hate that
I hate
word.
the word, but you have to be trained. You get a new job, you get
You
trained.
get trained,
You
right?
went to basic military training. You
But
went to,
discipline take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
When you say you've disciplined them in a way, it just shows that they have the ability to manage, maintain, and further propel and progress
Yeah,
something
training.
that we've started.
I always said training is more like a condensed
Yeah,
amount of time where you're teaching somebody, and then over time you don't train somebody permanently, right?
Yeah.
Like you remember Chief, we used to go to training camp or 2-a-days, right? You get
Yeah.
that for about 6-8 weeks, and then boom, that switch. You didn't train like that anymore. You boxers go to training camp, you get trained, and then you move on. So yes, we did train them, and they moved on. They are great. They are great. I mean, the way that they have been taught.
they are now assets to
Yeah,
us.
they-
They're
they-
not liabilities
Like,
anymore.
I can go to sleep at night with a smile on my face and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, again,
Tino might be a liability.
well, it's still
The
one.
6-year-old, right? We always got, Mommy, I want this toy.
There's
Today was
always-
Play-Doh.
There's always one.
Right, there's always one. But
Oh,
just seeing this stuff for yourself, and there's nothing that we come to y'all with that we have not done, vetted, tried, tested, judged,
Took an L on.
right?
Yeah.
Failed at, figured out. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And really, our show, if there's nothing else that we contribute to the community, it is basically a spark. That's all we want to do. It's just a spark.
yeah.
We don't want to have any more herd mentality, right? As soon as the news come on and they tell you this, nobody's safe until everybody's safe, right? An individual can listen to that and say that nobody will ever be safe, and y'all are hitting us with the okie doke. That's a
Yeah.
psyop, and that don't make sense.
So don't. It's like that one kid on crack TikTok. I call it crack TikTok because in the U.S. they gave us the crack version. In China, where it came from, it's only educational.
It's only educational. Yep.
It's only educational. And I'll say like that kid say, all bullshit, all bullshit. So Trust Truth has a question. What do you think about becoming sovereign on the blockchain? Please explain what you're talking about being sovereign on a blockchain. I would venture to say that having sovereignty is part of being on the blockchain if you hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other digital assets that have value that's going into the next economic system that we're going into. Because if you have enough of it, you will be able to do things to do things differently than the 96% of people who do not hold any digital assets. Okay.
You
It
just think
says you got to
different.
go into the system. You got to go into the system and ring fence yourself.
Reference. I think
A
you meant
live,
reference for yourself.
okay, reference yourself. A living trust on the blockchain. Chicago blockchain bully will do all of that for you on the blockchain. All right, that's the first time I heard about that. I'm gonna look into that. Okay. Yeah, and I understand you do need more than just Bitcoin. That's what I've been saying the whole show. But yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Reference myself on the blockchain, and then ring
Oh,
fence.
ring fence.
Okay, so
Well, we're gonna look that up. I'm not familiar with that.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Trust Truth, for suggesting it. Trust Truth, you also asked if the Army made us this discipline. We were actually in the Air Force. He did the Air Force and the Army. I did the Air Force and Army Guard, but we were probably annoying as hell when we were teenagers. I mean, we were real good students in school and stuff, so we probably had that discipline. My mom, I do come from a two-parent household, but my mom had hella work ethic. Let me tell y'all, she was the nurse at a hospital. She worked 20-hour shifts. She would get up and go right back to work 5 o'clock in the morning. My grandmother was old school. Simon's father, my father-in-law, God rest his precious soul. He had hella discipline. That was a man. You ever hear somebody say, "My word is my bond"? That was him, right? Without saying it, if he told you something and he instilled that, one of the reasons why I married my husband is because if my husband said, "I'm gonna pick you up at 6:30, he there at 6:20. If my husband said, I'm gonna take care of that for you, I don't have to ask a second time. I can trust and rely on his word. His word is his bond. And we just kind of got together and built together and had a vision on, he had the vision. I do not have vision, right? I think vision is a gift. And I admire people who have it. I don't have vision, but what I do have is ambition and initiative. And my husband says, "Hey, I've been thinking about this. I've been, picturing this in my mind. My mind is already going, how can I help him bring that to fruition?" So it's also about your team, right? These corporations do well because they have very good people in the organization. Your personal home is an organization, and you want your team to be set up in a way where everybody's talents and strengths can leverage everybody's weakness. And I think that's part of the issue in the manosphere. It's a whole nother show for a whole nother day.
Yeah, because what you will see is, and I don't want to get too far down this way, but what you will see is, I spoke about people going off the grid and starting small communities. And what you see in small communities, like she said, you pick on people's talents.
Yeah.
And then they are, this is your job, this is what you'll be doing, right? In this world that we live in, everybody, it's a free world. I want to be this, I want to be that. Right.
There's also the weird competition, right? Like, we don't compete with each other. I know what his strengths are. He knows what mine are.
Yeah.
I know what his weaknesses are. So I try to leverage that as best as possible. He knows what my weaknesses are. So he goes above and beyond to leverage my weakness. And because I am, in a sense, the weaker sex, I need a lot more leveraging than he needs. So you have to be honest about those things. Be okay with them, right? I'm not one of those women who like, nah, I'm the boss bitch. No, I'm not. Right? My husband is the visionary, so I don't have those visions. I don't have those ideas. And I understand that I'm hella ambitious, and whatever you come up with, I will find a way to get it done. I will figure the resources out that we need in order to get it going. I will call the people we need to call. So I'm really telling y'all, in y'all households, success is not what society says. Society tell you need to have a Bentley and 2 bad bitches to be successful. No. Success is when the team can come together to achieve a common goal, common objectives, when everybody has an understanding. It don't mean that there's no, like issues or disagreements but at the end of the day, y'all are coming together for a common goal, a common objective. You work together, and that's how you build.
And
you build together, you destroy together. You don't destroy what the one is building. Y'all build that together, and when it's time to destroy in order to rebuild and do better, that's what we do.
And if you have a teacher or mentor, somebody who's leading the movement, you have to also have that person, or that person should have humility to
There's
know
that, yeah.
to pass it on. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I teach my sons everything I know, and I have the humility to listen to what they say. They come back to me and say, "I've been researching this and that," and I might not even know what they're talking about, but I have the confidence in them that we've taught them, and they say,
Right.
"Okay, if you think this is a good idea, let's check it out.
Right.
Let's roll with it and see what happens." Have that humility to pass it on.
Right.
Just pass it on to somebody like, "Okay, you got it from here," and
Right.
I'm still here, you know, to give guidance and stuff. But if they're more adapted to technology or new things that's rolling out,
Right.
and I may be behind on it,
Right.
then I have the humility to listen to them
Right.
and not be like, "No, I know what I'm talking about."
And also, you know, the competition, right? You can be a great power forward. I could be a great point guard. We're not both competing to be whatever it is on. I'm just naming those are the only two positions I can name, y'all. But or okay, QB and left tackle or whatever, right? We can be great as long as you understand what it and we're not competing with each other and sabotaging one another. Even Grizz, you know, Grizz, we do great collaborations because we're not trying to compete on which one of the three of us is the smartest in the room and who gonna sound the smartest, right?
Hell
It's
no.
about
I
coming
know
together.
for a
Go
fact
ahead,
I'm not
baby.
the smartest. I said I know for a fact I'm not the smartest. I ain't gonna claim to be. I know what I know,
And
and
right,
no,
you know what you
yeah,
know, and this is what I have to contribute, but I will do my best to be resourceful and continue with the contributions. So
yeah,
those are other things that I wish we could have more collaborative discussions on, right? Because like I said, Trust Truth said, was it Trust Truth who said you guys have, oh, Let Freedom Ring said you two have synergy. The synergy is what allows the energy to conceive something new. And we can't forget those things. And that's why we're seeing a bit of static, right? Non-movement right now as we're kind of pushing forward. And we want to start to see more movement in individual households on a collective level.
yeah,
Great.
We
right.
want to start seeing if a black man and black woman are on it, they're not arguing with each other, they're not competing with one another, that it is a collaborative push and pull. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
magnetism where something was conceived at the end of that thing and not strife, divisiveness, clicks. Right,
yeah,
like y'all, we went and watched that podcast and they was arguing, and you got 16 million people watching this thing. You got 16 million views on the enmity between a man and a woman.
Right.
When
exactly.
we're gonna have probably 200 views, where you have two couples. Angie right now got the little baby, but Angie vibe with us all the time too. You have two black couples coming together to conceive something that allows their household to not just progress, but to leave legacy. And that's
Yeah,
what we want to do. We want to conceive legacy. We want to birth
exactly.
that baby.
Hell yeah.
From TD Jakes. Birth
I mean,
that
that's
baby.
right though. She right. You are absolutely right. Shit, I totally agree with you. You know,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that was a great way. I mean, but we kept you longer than we meant to. I'm sorry. We still got some articles we didn't even get to.
But we'll get
you
to
know
them.
what? I've been thinking we're gonna go live a little more often and try to shorten the shows.
Yeah,
and
because
give us some room.
the end of the year is going to be a lot lighter on the workload. Y'all, we work a lot, to be honest,
Yeah,
right?
so we're gonna do that. We're gonna have Chief here if Chief is available at all times. You know, whenever he's available.
He know I'm going to be bugging him.
so what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to give me. You're gonna have to give me talking points so that I won't get off script. Because
No,
when shit pop up,
no,
in my,
this is
but when
organic.
stuff
That's
pop
what
up
we
in my
like.
head, I gotta say it. Like because it might be something that could help somebody.
No, yeah, no, leave it organic. Let me tell you, we sat down to set this up, right before I said, y'all ready to go live, I looked at Simon and said, what you talking about today?
Yeah, I had my stuff ready, and we didn't even get to half of it.
I was like, what are you talking
But
about
we
today?
got to the important stuff. You know, we got.
Well, let me know some of the stuff that you want to talk about, Gordon.
Yeah,
Gordon,
okay.
because
I'll send you the links if we have them.
yeah, because I want to know about it too, or I want to converse on it as well because I
I'm
may
as
know
clueless
something.
as you were, Greg.
Yeah, I may know
I don't-
something that you. Yeah,
I don't want to
man.
bore people. I don't want to bore people to death with like technical stuff. So this got more. It was more fluid. So I like this. I like this better. But I did have some.
And KW1 said that I like the flow of the show.
Yeah,
Like
it's
they
more
like that
fluid.
organic because sometimes we
Man,
he got something on his mind. I got something on mine. We'll leave you the point.
I had some charts on the dollar over the last month, and it's boring as hell, but it's still important. But this is better. This is better. And we
don't bore them.
Yeah, I don't want to bore y'all.
Bore me, right? And then we'll try to put it in a way where it's not so like dry.
So dry.
Yeah, it's not so dry.
But yeah, so we kept you too long. I'm sorry. How did you want to wrap it up? Or you and Chief, how did you guys want to wrap it up?
Well, Chief, it's the Sabbath started, and y'all know I need to go into prayer and stuff. But Chief, I'm gonna let you close out with the people.
Well, I mean, I really don't know what to say, but keep on dollar cost averaging. Whatever you believe in, if you really believe in it's going to be something that's going to be viable for you and your family in the future, then please keep that mindset and please invest in it and don't waver from it. I mean, it's so many things that are out here that are going to try to get you off of your.
Yes.
It's going to try to get you off of your
where
your waypoint. Stay on your waypoint and go to your destination so that you can end up where you want to be, whenever you want to be there or however you want to be there. Like I said, I'm gonna keep on DCAing on Bitcoin. I'm gonna keep on, DCAing on ETH and the ISO tokens. I got my meme coins that I want to have. You know what I'm saying? And then after things change, because like I said at the beginning, the only thing that's constant is change. Once things change and they go to where they get rid of some of those tokens that don't add any value to the system that they created, then I'm going to move within the parameters that they set for the big boys so that I can become a big boy. And when I become a big boy, don't think that I will forget about you and that I will look at you like you are a little boy. I'm going to look at you as you are, because you are a person of value, because we are all part of source and we are all one collective conscious and we are having an individual experience. And as long as we have that individual experience, and as long as we're able to go forward within that individual experience, and I'm sorry, I had to open the door for my beautiful daughter, man. Nakaya just walked in, Aaron.
Hi, Nakaya.
Hey, Nakaya.
She said hi, y'all.
No, that's Gio.
Aaron, she been baking. She been making shit. She can cook like a motherfucker, man.
I've been cooking today. I have to take my apron off for the show.
Yeah, hey, she ain't playing around. That's one of the traits that she learned from me. I tell y'all that y'all hyper intelligent and y'all kids are hyper intelligent. My kids are hyper intelligent too. And when I say hyper intelligent, I'm really saying that they are a little bit smarter than I am. All right, they know, they the 2.0. And somebody said earlier that Gen Z was something. Gen Z, the majority of the Gen Zers have a lot of knowledge. We just have to understand that the Gen Zers, or the generation that's not part of our generation, they just have to deal and maneuver in where they are right now. So it's going to look different. Just like when we was growing up, our parents used to say the same thing about us.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, that's just part of being in this existence. Because things change. Okay, things change. It don't stay exactly the same, but just don't discount them, because they add a lot of value to our existence, and they help us evolve in this crazy, sometimes maniacal world or plane that we are on. Because if you got to understand, these folks out here that don't mean us any well, they are maniacal. It's something wrong with them. They are against living life and being prosperous and having everybody being under the umbrella of abundance. As long as we can all try to strive to get to abundance and live in harmony with one another, then our consciousness which is one consciousness, will come in tune with each other, and we can all maneuver in a better way in this realm that we are until we are elevated to whatever plane that we're supposed to go to.
Yeah,
Right.
and definitely.
So just keep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Touch on that when you said the Gen Zs, millennials. We did the fourth turning show, and you had different archetypes, and the archetype of the millennials was the hero archetype that will come and start the turning over. The last hero archetype was after World War II. So although a lot of people disparage millennials and have bad things to say about them, like you said, listen to them, because these are the people who are going to be running the world. These are the people who are going to turn things around. They're going to turn around for us.
Exactly. Because
we should be supporting them and be their biggest fans.
And unlocking their talents and stuff. But this is the last thing. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry. I'm just real quick. Things ain't going to stay the same. Things are going to be different, but help usher us into that difference. And they're going to make that difference a lot better for us, because they know things that we don't know about the existence that we in right now, because it's ever evolving, ever changing existence.
The last thing I want to say, you guys, I want to thank you guys so much for joining our show. Many of you have been real faithful and coming to the show all the time. As world events get more unstable, as there's more wars, rumors of wars, there's more instability, there's more chaos. One of the reasons why we can go forth boldly is because of our faith. If there are any of you who are feeling the call of Jesus Christ in their life and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, email us. It's free, it's confidential. If you say, hey, I want to get back into my Bible, I'd like to do Bible study, I do verse by verse Bible study. I give you geographical, cultural context. I give you the hermeneutics, right? I really, just like how we run the show, it's just like how I approach Bible study. So if there are any of you who are feeling the call and you're trying to go back to your Lord God and Savior, and you just don't know where to start or where to go, please always feel free to email me. I answer every single email I get.
He really does, y'all. That's the real stuff.
Don't email me.
Don't email Simon, because he will not. He's going to hand his device to his wife.
It's gotten away from me. So
Y'all tell Simon to get more devices so that I can text him again instead of the avenue that we got to go through right now.
Even back then, you was texting me. I was the one writing you back.
All right. Well, I didn't know who the hell was writing me back. I just knew it was one of y'all.
Production assistant, technical assistant, personal assistant.
I didn't know who it was. I knew it was one of y'all, and I knew if I got to one of y'all, then I was gonna be all right. So
I'm the man's assistant.
All right. And
so, but we love y'all. We look forward to y'all, Vaughn. I look forward to you contacting me. Anybody else, like I said, it's confidential. And we're here for whatever it is that you guys need. If you it's December, it's a lonely month for a lot of people. If you just need somebody to talk to, again, it's confidential. We will video, FaceTime you, Messenger you, whatever, Zoom you, Restream, whatever is easier for you. And again, it's confidential. We're always happy to sit and talk, keep company. Don't have to be finance or economics. We are here for the community.
And look, she's not the only one. I love y'all too. Whether I know y'all or not, I still love y'all. And the reason why is because y'all are on this plane with me, and we have to love each other. Love is the only thing that's going to get us through all of this craziness that we're going through right now.
Oh, that's right. I know that's right.
Yeah. So whatever it is you guys need, we are here, and it is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Okay, so we will catch up with you again. Simon is saying we're going to be more frequent. My email address should be in the description.
Yep. I'm gonna try to be more frequent, shorter videos, but less bound and go into different conversations. And
do you see it, KW1? I don't know if you do.
Sometimes right.
Yeah, so I got to do it in a different way. And I just put it in there. Hopefully it doesn't strike it, but It's aaron.simon@authoraaronsimon.biz. I answer every single email. And whatever you need, whether it's prayer, Bible study, or just to chat, we are here for you guys. We love y'all. I'm going to go
All right,
get my
love
Bible
you.
study.
I'll holla at y'all.
Bye.
All right, Chief.
I'll see y'all.
Bye. Oh, do you need to talk to him?
No,
Okay,
Chief,
bye,
we got
you
it. We're gonna get
guys.
with you again. We got it.
Yeah, holla at me, man. You know what it is. You already know what it is, dog.
Okay.
All right, see
Bye.
y'all.